Who's starting?
Well, when Jesus was heading towards the region of Caesarea Philippi, he asked his disciples, "Who do the people say that I am?"
Well, some of the disciples piped up and they said, "I think you're John the Baptist. Or a prophet."
Maybe even Elijah.
"Yes, but who do you say that I am?"
And Simon Peter said, "You are the Messiah, the Son of the living God."
And Jesus looked at Simon and said, "Oh, Simon, this is really good. You didn't get this from your own flesh and blood, but you got this message from God.
And I'm going to name you Peter instead of Simon, and on this rock I will build my church.
And the gates of hell will not prevail.
Because whatever you loose in heaven or on earth will be loosed in heaven, and whatever you bind on earth will also be bound in heaven."
But Jesus said, "Shh, don't tell anyone that I'm the Messiah yet."
Then,
Are you telling
Then
me?
Jesus said, we're doing the extended version here.
Okay.
Jesus said, "I will have to go to Jerusalem now, and I will suffer greatly at the hands of the teachers of the law, and know that I will be killed, but on the third day I will be raised from the dead."
And Peter did not like this at all and pulled Jesus aside and said, "Jesus, you must not speak like this, for it is not good."
And Jesus said, "Get behind me, Satan! You do not have things of heaven in your mind. You are thinking like things of this earth."
And Jesus told him.
And Jesus said, "Do not tell anyone that I am the Messiah."
Right, because the followers, my true followers, must pick up their cross daily and follow me. For what is this life if you gain the world and yet you lose your soul? And the glory of the Father will come down with his angels and reward those who do according to his will.
And I tell you that even some of you standing here today will not taste death before you see the Son of God coming in all of his glory.
Now, after this, Jesus grabbed 3 of his disciples, Peter, James, and John, and they started hiking up the mountain because Jesus wanted to go up there and pray. And so once Jesus started to pray, though, the disciples
they fell asleep. And when they woke up, they saw Jesus conversing with Moses and Elijah. And on top of that, they were glowing. Their faces were as bright as the sun, and their clothes were as white as snow.
And then a booming voice came from heaven and said, "This is my son Jesus, whom I take great joy in. You must listen to him."
And Simon Peter was very excited before he heard the booming voice of God. Then now he was very terrified and fell to the ground in fear.
And Jesus came up to him and said, "Oh, Peter, get up. Don't have any fear." And at this point, the 2 prophets were no longer there. It was only Jesus and the disciples.
Now, as they were heading back down the mountain, Jesus stopped them and said, "You must not tell anyone what you have seen until the Son of Man is raised from the dead."
Yes, but Jesus, before the Messiah comes, haven't people said, and the elders say, that Elijah has to come as well?
Yeah.
And so Jesus looked at them and said, "Well, you see, I tell you that Elijah's already come. And, well, you see, they didn't treat him very well. And if they didn't treat him very well, imagine how they'll treat the Son of God."
And the disciples finally figured out that Jesus was talking about John the Baptist.